myBurbank Talks presents another edition of The Week That Was and The Week That Will Be, a weekly podcast featuring highlights and commentary on local events and issues taking place right here in Burbank. Now, let's see what's on today's agenda as we join our program.
Hello, Burbank. Craig Sherwood here with you once again from the myBurbank Command Center for another edition of The Week That Was and The Week That Will Be. So, to start off with, let's get with last week's winner for our Hill Street gift certificate. That was George Reeves. And he sent in the word kitten. Who knew that George had that in him? Kitten. But what did George win? A $25 gift card to Hill Street Cafe. And we will have another chance for you to win later in this show. So please listen to the whole show, and you will have a chance for that $25 gift card also. Now, a little old business is the last Kathy Horan, who actually won a card before, sent a little note in to us, which we were very happy about. And she said, basically, let me see here. She said, I wanted to thank you for the Hill Street Cafe gift card. And I won a few weeks ago. They are one of my favorite places to eat in Burbank. The food is always delicious, the people are friendly, and the atmosphere is homey. Here's a picture of the delicious meal we had. I had the turkey sourdough melt, and my husband had the chili relleno. Well, fantastic. And it looks like you really had a good meal there. So, once again, we appreciate you listening. We hope you enjoyed the meal. And, like I say, stand by for a chance to win later in the show. Okay. So let's move on here. Some other things we had is the Burbank channel actually had a great video by Nick Schultz about the Colony Theater. I'm really glad the city decided to save it and give it to the people of the Colony. That was a big thing. They had a special meeting for it. There was a lot of good groups who wanted it, but the Colony Theater is really in place, and they've really excelled since they've gotten it. So check out that video on the Burbank channels by Nick Schultz. I think you'll enjoy it. Also, I want to remind all the candidates that we're now doing candidate podcasts. So just contact us at news@myburbank.com and set up a time and date. And we will, no matter what, if you're on the Burbank ballot for any office, you can come do a podcast with us. We're not putting out invitations except for right here. So if you hear this, then go ahead. Or if you know of a candidate running, let them know. Okay? We'll take anybody. Also, one last thing, okay? And if you'd like to really help out this channel and what we do, please subscribe to the channel so you know when new videos are coming out. And now we also offer channel memberships. So if you want to subscribe to the channel and get a channel membership, be extremely appreciated. And we're going to have some really great stuff coming out with that. Okay, let's move on a little bit here. Next up we have, let's see here. National Night Out. We just had National Night Out. And let me tell you what, that was a great event. People really enjoyed it. It was very heavily attended. Our photographer, Austin Gebhardt, went out, shot some pictures here. Let's see if we can throw some up on the screen here for you. And you can kind of see what went on. There were a lot of pictures here from, first for Johnny Carson Park, where there was a lot of attendance there. They had a lot of booths set up. A lot of people were there just to see what was going on, to enjoy the evening. It's something that I think is important that we do every year. As you can see, there's a lot of booths and from all kinds of different agencies. And look at that. The old animal shelter had a few big bulbs right there. Those look pretty impressive. And, of course, there's water empowered, some demonstrations. And, of course, the police were there with all their gear and everything else. Let's see here. We also then, people had at their homes also. And he stopped by a couple homes, one on Chandler, and got a couple shots and some on Evergreen. So these are all shots that that people really put time in, effort in. And as you can see, a lot of neighbors came out to see what was going on. Fire department all stopped by to say hi. And look at that, pose for pictures. So that was kind of a neat thing. I think people, had a great time. Look at that, lots of pizza and just lots of overall good times. So it's something that every year we do in the first week of August. And go ahead and, next year maybe you can be the one who gets involved in that. So something neat to do. Okay, let's move on to Thursday here. Thursday, the Park and Rec Department, they last Thursday they had their meeting, and they had a list of projects to be done next year. And once again, we can probably bring those up on the screen for you to take a look at here. Give me a second here, and here we go. So here are some of the projects they came up with. The Schaefer Baseball Light Modernization, Alfred Rec Center, which we know as the Verdugo Park, of course, backboard replacement, Brace, Maple, and McCambridge playground equipment, McCambridge pool replacement, master design plan for Isaiah Park, Isaiah and McCambridge Park irrigation replacements. Although I'm a little confused why they would do an irrigation replacement at Isaiah if they may rip the entire park up and reconfigure it. So I think they should be thinking about that. And also new shade structures at all in Valley ball fields. Once again, if they're going to rip up all of it a little bit, do you want to make sure you use the shade structure in the new place? The dog park, the Clark Dog Park. It says we're still waiting for plan with LADWP. Now I was told it's supposed to be done by August, in the fall of this year, and it seems like they are still tied up in things. They're also going to work on a Starlight Bowl transformation, a community engagement phase. Boy, that's really needed. That is really needed. And of course, the Bell Golf Course improvements, cart path, driving range. Little surprised about that also because basically what the Colony Theater has to pay for everything they improve. So why isn't the people from the Bell Golf Course doing the same thing and paying for what they also do? So that's a little surprising to me. Anyhow, those will give you a rundown and a cost of what was going on. So hopefully that see from there and go from there. Let's see what else we got going on here. Let's see here. Friday. Oh, City Clerk Kim Clark. She announced that the period to file papers run for City Council would be extended until the end of this week because of Nick Schultz is not filing. Of course, Nick Schultz is running for Assembly. And, things look very good in that campaign for him. And so he cannot, by state law, file for two places at the same time. The same that Kamala Harris could not pick the governor of California because if she did, you can't have two people from the same state running for president and vice president. So the same thing here. Nick Schultz can't run for two offices at once by state law. So he, of course, is going to, runs on an assembly seat. So we have for sure one seat that is completely up for grabs. And Constantine Anthony has taken out papers, although he did say in a council meeting he was not going to, but he has now taken out papers and filed to run for another term on the city council. So basically, one incumbent running and one completely empty seat. The school district has not really announced anything about their elections. Hard to find information. I've had a couple press releases we put out about candidates who are running. It's a very confusing situation, basically because we don't know what the districts are. The districts are the districts they came up with. There is a proposed map on their website, but it's not the finalized map. It just says proposed. So I really don't know which district is which. That's a little frustrating. I really hope that they can fix that up and clear it up a little bit. All right. We've come to our first and our only commercial break. So here's a quick little commercial for you. And that was it for the week that was. And we'll be back in a second with the week that will be.
Enjoying the show right now? Think you may want to do your own podcast? Well, myBurbank Talks is renting out our podcast studio on an hourly rate. You and your guests can record audio podcasts or both audio and video. We'll help you get set up on podcast platforms and even your own YouTube channel. We can also edit your productions to make you look and sound your very best. If interested, please drop us an email at studiorentals@myburbank.com. That's studiorentals@myburbank.com. Now, back to our show.
Okay, back with you again for the week that will be. And let me tell you what, this is going to be a long one, okay? We had a pretty short last week, but we got a lot going on this week with meetings and everything else. So stand by and listen to all this. I think you'll find this informative, and hopefully that you will enjoy what we're talking about. So let's get on with it. Monday, our planning commission meeting has been canceled. So no reason on rushing over there to watch a meeting or watching it on YouTube. On Tuesday, the Board of Building and Fire Code Appeals will be meeting at 3 p.m. at the Community Services Building. They are going to be introducing the new fire marshal, James Moy. And then right after that, the new fire marshal, James Moy, is going to report to the board. So he'll be a very, very busy guy for a little while. And of course, he'll give the general reports to the board also. So that's at 5. Then we go to 6 o'clock, and the city council meets at City Hall. Okay, so one thing we're going to have is a presentation of a certificate for recognition and honor of the 20th anniversary of the Chandler Bikeway. Holy cow, 20 years. We'll get that a little bit for the whole thing. You know, we're going to talk about that a little later in the show. But can you believe that's been 20 years since they put that in? Wow. There's also going to be a presentation for a certificate of recognition commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Burbank Fire Department's Emergency Medical Services, the EMS program, basically the paramedic program. Amazing, 50 years. You know, it's any sands of the old emergency TV show. Remember that. They actually were talking about, you know, some of their first episodes was how they got the governor to actually sign the law to allow paramedics. Because before that time, there were no paramedics. You needed a doctor, you had to get in the car somehow and get to the hospital on your own. Amazing that the paramedics have become what they are. Now, right now, Burbank has 4 different paramedic rescue ambulances. You know, it's actually, I would say 3.5, because one is a part-time, the RA-14, if you see it around, that's a part-time one, a Monday through Friday one. They will hopefully make that a permanent one when we get a little more funding. But at least right now, we have enough to cover the city, which is very good. So they made those adjustments. We're very happy with that. On June 4th, let's see here. So on June 4th, the city council received a generous donation of $156,530 from John F. Tyndall, who was an animal lover and a resident of Riverside County. He had passed away on April 10th of 2021. The Tyndall Trust designated that a portion of his estate be distributed to the Burbank Animal Shelter. So very nice of him. So they're getting that money put into their coffers. So that'll be something that they really can use. Moving on here, the city council, it's interesting that they do this, but they do have to do it. They're going to approve the design for the upcoming Rose Float. Now, here's a little background on our Rose Float, in case you didn't know. Since 1914, okay, 1914, because Burbank was incorporated in 1911. And since 1914, the city of Burbank has been represented in the Pasadena Tournament of Roses parades on New Year's Day. Originally, the Burbank Chamber of Commerce and Burbank Schools entered floats on behalf of the city. But in 1947, the Tournament of Roses Association took responsibility for the city's annual float entries. The 2025 entry will be the Burbank Tournament of Roses' 77th float entry and the city's 92nd float entry in the parade. It's called Having a Lot of Fun. And as you can see in the picture, it looks like they are having a lot of fun. The float design and rendering was submitted by Eric Anderson from Toluca Lake. This is Eric's third time designing a float for Burbanks. Okay? And this costs a little bit of money, too. The city's contribution that they give the Tournament of Roses is $54,720 and $22,295 in administrative support. So that's $77,000. Now, I have no problem with giving money to the Burbank Tournament of Roses to help them with the float, because look at the tradition we have. It's on television. It's international. But maybe instead of the city coffers coming with all that money, maybe visit Burbank might be footing some of this bill. Because let's face it, this float is to promote the city and promote tourism. So maybe we should be doing something where Visit Burbank can supply some of the funding for this instead of all just the city of Burbank. So that's probably something that we need to look at down the line. I don't know what they're going to do or anything else, but we'll find out. Okay. Let's see here. Moving on. One thing the city council is going to do is the approval. Here we go with the letter again. Approval letter signed by all City of Burbank council members encouraging a timely and mutually acceptable agreement between the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, and 10 video game companies. So, let's see here. I think we've got a copy of the letter somewhere. Let's bring that up for you. Here's a copy of what the letter is going to look like that they're going to send out. Now, once again, here we go. I'm not sure how this is saying the city of Burbank really it should be involved in. I'm still waiting for our letter for a ceasefire in Israel, which for some reason they have not listened to Burbank, and they're still having their war, which was very unfortunate there. But that letter we spent all that time on really did no good. Now we're going to do a letter to video game companies. I can't imagine they're going to receive this letter and say, "Oh, Burbank sent a letter. Let's get this thing settled right away." I just can't see that happening. I think it's I don't know. I try to be open-minded, but why are we taking a lot of time and resources to do this kind of stuff? Anyhow, so let's move on here. Let's see here. There we are. I get right back with you in a second. There we go. They're going to have there's a report the council is going to have an adoption of a resolution approving Burbank Bus free fare program for Burbank middle and high school students and approving Burbank Bus's participation in the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority's Go Pass program. Once again, something that's very well needed. Having kids be able to ride the buses for free is important. I know in this report they said that it was for the Burbank and the boroughs students and Providence, but we have the French school on Riverside Drive. That's a school in Burbank with high school kids in it. The middle schools is for them also, but I hope that includes schools like St. Robert, St. Francis, St. Finbar that go up to 8th grade. So I think, anybody who lives in Burbank or goes to school in Burbank, I would say from 6th grade on, hopefully is going to be eligible to get this program. So, for them to get around town, now the only problem is the metro buses are great, but where are they going to go on a Burbank bus? They're just not going to places people want to go to. So So we got to figure out a little bit on that, but I'm sure that's down the line. But anyhow, let's move on here. Let's see. We're going to have a discussion. Okay, here's a long one for you. Now, once again, this is something that might be important to people because I think it's something that is, how do you want to say this? It's your right to participate in your government. And they've had some issues now. And once again, we have meetings go to 2:45 in the morning because we're going to spend 3 hours on a ceasefire in Israel. Well, maybe that's where the problem lies, and not the fact that, if we just talked about Burbank stuff, we wouldn't probably be going till midnight, 3 in the morning sometimes. Anyhow, moving on here. They're going to have a discussion on city council meeting policies and proposed procedures. So basically, they did a survey of 18 other jurisdictions across California and found the following options being utilized to manage public comment. Let's even bring that up on the screen for you. There we go. So something they brought up is limiting speaking times allotted per individual. Right now it's 5 minutes. It's been down to 3 minutes. I've heard it sometimes down to even 1 minute. I think whatever they decide to do, it needs to be uniform and it needs to stay at that instead of saying, well, we got a lot of people tonight, let's make it 1 minute. Let's make it 30 seconds. Really? Are you going to have somebody sit there for 2-3 hours and then they get 1 minute to talk? I just don't know if that's really where you want to go. If that's not, is that really, letting citizens have their say. Publicizing and utilizing a scaling system to determine speaker time was based on the number of speakers for each comment period. Once again, so we have something that's very big and important. So we're going to limit now what people can say on that item. Once again, that's what some cities are doing. I don't think it's a good idea. Limiting the total overall length of public comment periods. So if a lot of people want to talk, tough taco if you didn't make it in line. Oh, this is not good. Once again, this is what other cities are doing right now that they've surveyed. Allowing in-person comments only. No virtual or telephonic comments. Totally against that. We learned that, after the pandemic, that made a lot of sense, having telephonic stuff. We need to keep that. Reduce the number of overall periods of public comment. Once again, why are we going to stifle? Establishing deadlines for submission of speaker cards. So no additional speaker cards accepted once the specified agenda item has begun. I don't know why cities do that. Once again, if somebody gets there late, now you're going to be able to penalize them. Utilizing a designated speaker for large groups commenting on the same item. I can see where that sometimes is a good thing because, instead of having, 15 people get up and read the same exact speech, which has happened in the past, I think that might, let one person read the speech and everybody can sign it or stand up with them or something. Placing parameters around general public comments, such as accepting only non-agenda related comments, accepting only comments pertaining directly to two business within the body's jurisdiction, or prioritizing comments in a certain manner. Well, prioritizing business within the body's jurisdiction, that's a good idea. I think we should be really looking at that. Now, some of the things they're going to look at also, okay, besides that, they're going to be looking at, starting the meeting time resolution. Right now, the code says that we have to start meeting at 6 p.m. for regular session. They have their closed session at 5 o'clock. So maybe they're thinking about having meetings start earlier, maybe at 5. But that's something they have to be voted into. They have a resolution. Now, this always cracks me up. They have a resolution that designates the meeting end time of 11 p.m. for regular session. The end time of 11 p.m. includes a caveat that the meeting may continue to finish an in-progress item, or if at least 3 council members vote to extend the end of the time. In 2023 and 24, Meetings end times ranged from 8 p.m. at night till 2:45 in the morning, with a majority being 75% of the meetings ending after 11 p.m. That's ludicrous. When meetings are going past midnight, 1 o'clock, one of the things I say is, why have only 2 meetings a month then? If we're meeting that late every single meeting, why don't we consider having 3 meetings a month? The municipal code says we must have 2. It doesn't say we can't have 3. So we have that much to do and discuss. Why don't we have 3 meetings a month instead of 2 and get out of there by 8, 9, 10 o'clock every night instead of midnight, 1, 2 in the morning? So yeah, I'd say that it's not on this, but they should be considered. Why not increase the amount of meetings? Then we're going to talk about discussion of agenda items. Some cities, including Inglewood, Mission Viejo, and Victorville, have implemented established rules of decorum related to council discussion and deliberation. The rules include time limits from 2 to 5 minutes for each council member remarks and questions to help facilitate focused conversations and ensure the efficient flow of the meeting. Boy, let me tell you what. That alone, I've heard council people talk about, oh man, oral communications take forever. But let me tell you, what takes forever is after they have oral communications or they have whatever it is, every council member has to talk. And really, 1 or 2 of them will have something to say, and the other 3 talk because, we feel we need to talk. We need to show that we're involved. We need to show that we're engaged. Look, we know you're engaged. We know you're doing the work of the people, all those things. But you don't have to give us an extra 2 or 3 minutes of talk to tell us that. Move on. We can just move on. I learned a long time ago, and I used to make the mistake when I first started teaching at Crestview High School. We used to have faculty meetings. And during the meetings, they would always have questions. I used to ask questions all the time. I used to say, hey, this and that and everything else. And people, I talked to, my fellow coach, and I talked to Muck one night, and he says, Coach, you got to knock it off. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, all the questions. We want to get out of there. Just nod your head yes about everything. They'll get done, and we leave. Your questions aren't going to do a thing or mean a thing in the long run. He was right. So sometimes, less is a lot more. You don't need to say something just to say something. So I think that's something that our council members might want to think about down the line, because a lot of this stuff is it's just, you don't need to talk about every little thing, no matter what. And we have a great council, okay? We have a great council. They do a good job. I have no problem with what they're doing, but they don't need to all say the same thing over and over again for 5-10 minutes. So, that'll cut down time right there. Let's move on here. So they actually came up with recommendations. And these are recommendations by city staff that they want the council to consider. And once again, I think these are all things that are pretty good. Okay. Once again, let's bring those up on the screen so you can kind of see what they are. One is time period of up to either 2 minutes or 1 minute per speaker. I think you have to go 2 minutes. I really do. Now, for all general public comment. 2, time period of up to 2 minutes per speaker for additional public comment periods. So like a reports to council, a public hearing, a closed session, on different things they have comments for. So once again, 2 minutes, I think is a good time. 3, implement not to exceed limitations of 75 minutes for general public comment and 20 minutes for all other periods of public comment. I'm not for that. If it's a big issue and you're going 2 minutes a person, you're going to limit it to, 38 people? 37 people? That's a lot of people. I get it. But if somebody feels that they need to say something, They should have that right to be able to talk if they want to. 4, meeting and start times. Okay, adjust the meeting start time for regular session to 5 o'clock instead of 6, and add language pertaining to the 11 p.m. designated end time that requires council to confer with the city manager to review the status of the remaining agenda items and determine how best to proceed. Now, once again, they have this rule that they have to vote to go past 11 o'clock. And they always, somebody brings it up and interrupts what they're doing and say, oh, we need to vote to go, keep going. And okay, who's all for it? And it's always 5-0, let's keep going. It's a stupid rule. Either if we have a rule, either stop the meeting and finish up that item and that's it, or we don't have a rule at all to stop. But this 11 o'clock thing, it's just like window dressing. It really doesn't mean one thing or another. Telephonic comment. Allow for public comment by telephone with the following adjustments. Time period of up to 2 minutes or 1 minute per speaker. Once again, I think 2 minutes is good. Consistent with speaking time for in-person general public comment. Okay. Now, open the phone. Here's the thing interesting. Open the phone line at the beginning of regular session, which would be 5 o'clock, and add a caveat that additional callers will not be accepted in the queue once the telephone public comment period begins. That's interesting. So once the first person on the phone starts speaking, nobody else can call in. Once again, why are we trying to stifle people's right to talk? What if the phone lines are busy? What if there's not enough, holding patterns? Well, I think we're infringing right there. Consider rules of decorum for council discussion and deliberation. Yeah, I agree. We should have just less time spending on some of that stuff so we're not saying the same things over and over. And add language regarding the approved annual joint meeting between City Council and Burbank Unified School District. Okay? In other words, the Ferguson rule. Probably very much needed. Okay, so those are some of the things that they're talking about. And I think it's important because all that really affects you as a member of the public to interact with the city council. And yeah, you're not going to go up there for 99% of the things, but there might be that one thing that's important. And your neighbors all show up and you want to go there and you want to be involved and you get shut out in some way. That should never happen. But on the other hand, do we need to spend 3 hours talking about a ceasefire or things like that? No, we really don't. So, is that important? Yes, it is. But it's nothing that Burbank City Council has control over. Let's remember what we can control and what we can't control. Because that right now is probably the most important thing. Okay. So let's see here. What else we going on here? Wednesday, the Board of Library Trustees is going to meet at 5:30 at the Central Library. We're going to have a library services update. Of course they will. And we're going to talk about the Media Industry Expo and Job Fair update. So that was a great thing. And of course, they're going to talk about library safety update. And after that little thing about, people not feeling safe in the library, I know our city manager, Justin Hess, got on that right away. Implemented a lot of changes immediately, got the cameras working. Haven't heard a lot of problems lately on the radio, so I think it's probably working. Also be a friend of the library update. So that's a very good thing also, okay? Also on Wednesday, now here's something for you that is always is a good thing, and that's going to be the Chandler Bike Path. Wait, bike path? Wait a second, the Chandler Bike Path. You know what that noise means? It can only mean one thing. We now once again have our word of the week. So, tell them, Josh, what can they win?
Would you like a chance to win one of these nifty Hill Street Cafe $25 gift cards? You can enter for free, but you must be a subscriber to the myBurbank channel, which is also free. Now that you have heard the word of the week, just send an email with the word in the subject line to contest@myburbank.com and make sure to include your address. So if you win, we can send you your $25 gift card. Now, back to the show.
Well, thank you, Josh. And please, make sure you enter so you can get that gift card and get a great meal at Hill Street Cafe. Okay. So anyhow, the Chandler bike path, I had to do that, didn't I? Okay. They're going to celebrate their 20th anniversary. And it's on Wednesday. And there's going to be a ceremony at the, let me see here. There we go. We're going to have a ceremony. Get the graphic up there for you guys. At the corner of Chandler and Pass. And there's going to be lots of activities. There'll be city officials there. Starts at 6:15. According to the flyer here, it says snacks, fun, and trivia quiz. Active transportation info. Bike parking. So it's something that is from 6 to 8 p.m. And 20 years. 20 years since that bike path was put in. I don't remember, it was the railroad tracks. And I think Center Pacific still owns that land. And we lease it or we get it, to use. But 20 years. That is a long time. So congratulations to everybody involved in that. It's been a great thing. I think we're going to have to start looking at down the line. How do we start regulating electric bicycles on there? Because they're going faster and faster, and now kids have them. Of course, there's no laws in Burbank about riding bicycles on sidewalks. So I think it's something that we need to address. And, as technology keeps changing, it's things that we have to also to look at also. So make sure you get over to the bike path. Have a great time over there. And let's see here. Let's move on. On Thursday, the school board is going to meet at 6 p.m. at City Hall. Now, here was something I found a little bit interesting. And here, I'm going to put up on the screen for you. Steve Ferguson sent his letter of resignation at the last meeting. And they put out a statement. The school board put out a statement that said, regarding statement regarding Mr. Ferguson's resignation. Mr. Ferguson tendered his resignation effective Thursday, August 1st. As Mr. Ferguson chose to resign with less than 4 months remaining in his term, the board is unable to appoint a representative for Area 1 due to legal restrictions. However, please rest assured that we, as board members, serve at large. And everyone in our BSD committee will continue to be fully represented, as always. Y'all serve at large now, but you're all going to serve at large in 3 more months. So, I don't know. You've decided to go to districts. So, his district right now, and there's people hopefully going to be running for it, and we'll know more down the line. Once again, they have not released much information about their election process, even the map of what their districts are. They caved in to the threat letter that the city of Burbank did not cave into, and now they're going to have that pay for those results. So I don't know. I think that's going to be a mess, and it's something that we need to rectify. And I really would like to see the board go back to a general election process again, because believe it or not, 2/5 of Burbank will not be able to vote for one person on the school board this election cycle. 2/5 of Burbank. There's 3 seats up. 2/5 do not get to vote. Next election, 3/5 will not get to vote. So I think this stuff works in big cities, but not in a small city like Burbank. Now you're going to represent 20,000 people instead of 100,000 people. We're talking about 45,000 registered voters. I mean, I think it's all kind of crazy. The board is also going to have an approval of a request to name a bench in honor of Karen Lombardo, and that's at Bret Hart School. I know the people there have been raising money for a bench, and it's something that is very important for them. And, it's part of the healing process. And there'll be, she was there for a long time, and I'm sure that there'll be she had a lot of students who will always remember her. And it'd be nice to have that bench there in her honor with a nice little plaque next to it, and people can go there once in a while and maybe say hi to her in a way, sit down and say hi to her at her bench. Anyhow, very sad situation last year. We feel bad for her son, who maybe did not know really what he was doing. So that's still in the court system. I do not think he's really been arraigned yet, and we'll keep you involved as that's going on. A lot of you people that want to know about the media district plan, they're going to have a Zoom meeting for the media district specific plan, easy for me to say, at 6 p.m. And that's workshop number 8. So this will be the 8th time they've done something to get people involved in the plan. A lot of people are very concerned about it. Developers are already taking advantage of the fact there's no plan in place and with some restrictions. So we will see how that goes. Sunday. This weekend on Sunday. Here we go. From 9 to 12 p.m., I think we have there we go. Sunday from August 18th, from 9 a.m. to noon, the Park and Recreation Department, in collaboration with Coach Jeff Russell, United Fencing Academy, and the Swordplay LA, invite you and your family, your friends, and the community to come take part in welcoming wheelchair fencing to the city of Burbank. It's an event that's open to the public and takes place in the Cambridge Recreation Center. Now, how neat is that? We've been doing a lot of stuff, at McCambridge for our wheelchair-bound population, and basketball and soccer and all those, a lot of activities, and for the blind, and Burbank's taking a lead on a lot of that stuff. And how neat is that? So that's this Sunday, and this is coming Sunday to McCambridge Park. So stop by and take a look at it, see what you think. And now we move on to, last but not least, Craig's comment. Okay? And my comment, number one, I appreciate everybody if you got this far in the show and listened to my voice for this long, congratulations. I appreciate it. The myBurbank team appreciates it. But here's my comment, which, kind of in my crawl right now. I'm noticing that we're getting a lot of endorsements already for candidates. Teachers associations, police associations, all the associations are endorsing candidates. That's great. I think you should endorse candidates. I have no problem with candidates being endorsed. But I do have a problem with candidates being endorsed before the process is over of filing your papers. If people file papers after you've endorsed somebody and all of a sudden a much better candidate has filed the papers and now running, well, you're taking your endorsement back from somebody and give it to somebody else? Why are we in a hurry to give endorsements out? Why are you give it out so soon? Why not wait a while? Why not wait until, 2-3 weeks before the ballots are mailed out? I just don't understand how we can be interviewing candidates and endorsing before the pack of candidates is even announced. So that makes no sense to me. I think that we really would need to look at that process. And to me, endorsements really don't mean a whole lot to start with. Now, myBurbank does not endorse city council or school board candidates. And I'm going to tell you why. We've got a lot of requests, could you please give us an endorsement and everything else. And some are by incumbents and some are by just people we know. And we got to tell them no. And here's the reason why. There are candidates out there who we just don't know. And to me, to give an endorsement, I need to see a track record. If you've never held a public office before, then, in my opinion, I want to see what you do once you get there. Here are a couple examples for you. Nick Schultz, Nikki Perez. Honestly, I did not know either one of them before the elections came along. I didn't know much about that. We did our myBurbank questions, and I read their answers. I was very impressed with their answers. Still doesn't tell me enough about them, though. About their character and things like that. You can't ask character questions. I can't go and look at their, all that type of stuff. And both of them come to the city council and done outstanding work. Now, we may not have endorsed them before. And because we didn't know who they were. And even like I say, with a questioning process, somebody can be on their best behavior at that moment. I want to see how they react. As a coach, I want to see how somebody reacts in the game. I want to see how somebody reacts to failure. And when you're in baseball, if you're up there and you hit a home run, you're jumping up and down, and life is great. But you go up there and you strike out with 2 out and 2 on with the game on the line, what's your reaction going to be? You make a big error, what's your reaction going to be? So I want to see the reactions when things get a little dicey in the meetings. Now, I don't mind endorsing Assembly, State Senate, Congress, things like that, because those are candidates that only have a proven record in meetings and everything else. So those are endorsements we don't mind giving out. But city council, school board, number one, those are really not professional politicians. They're community members who are running, and hopefully they want to make a difference and do good. We've found in the past, some have personal agendas. Just lost a school board member and had a lot of personal agendas. Quitting before your term is over? Unacceptable. Unacceptable. You can quit a job, I get it. But, wanting to run for an office, having people support you, and then quitting on them? Not acceptable. So, especially you had 3 or 4 months left to go. Steve Ferguson could have held out for 3 or 4 more months, but he already missed 7 meetings within a year. So he checked out. Missed the graduations. Wow. You gotta be kidding me. Anyhow, we don't endorse school board. We don't endorse city council. And that's the reasons why. You'll find there's a lot of good, and hopefully these candidates will go out in the neighborhoods, knock on doors, talk to them. Ask them the questions you want the answers for. myBurbank will also do a question and answer period or section on both school board and city council races. And we'll see if the candidates choose to answer the question or not. Hopefully they will. We've never had a situation here where they have not answered the questions. And we try to ask the questions that are important nowadays. What are the issues? Not just, what's your favorite color? Nobody cares. What we do care about is, your future plans, what you see for, happening, how you would, do things, and making sure there's no personal agendas. So that's kind of it as far as, that goes. But I just don't understand how all these organizations can give out endorsements before the candidate field has been set. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like, these are all shallow endorsements as far as I'm concerned. And I just wonder, is somebody being, is it a favor? I hope not, but you never know. Anyhow, that's it. That's all I got. Another edition of The Week That Was and The Week That Will Be. And we appreciate you listening. And please, once again, give the video a like. Please subscribe to the channel and think about a membership. We're going to have some really neat things on memberships coming up and some little perks and freebies for you. So it really helps support us if you do that, okay? Anyhow, that's it. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you for watching the latest myBurbank video. If you have it in your heart, please consider helping us by clicking on the super thanks down below Or even better, go to our channel and consider a membership. Your support is what keeps myBurbank going strong.